Hi everybody, my name is Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. You know, to me, this is such an extraordinary time in human history, in the history of this incredible planet, and of this, really, in a sense, this whole universe. That, you know, you can just feel the change, you can just feel the growth, you can just feel the expansion of consciousness, of love. And that's in the context of all these other things that seemingly are happening on the surface. But somehow we all, as a group, are really feeling some deeper connection. That the incessant craziness of division, of war, of one religion or one country being at odds with another, it is just reaching the end of its rope. I mean, it can't exist that we don't experience what we're truly here to experience anymore. That love that is what we're created from and what we truly are, is begging, is opening its heart. The universe, in a sense, is opening its heart to earthlings, to human beings. It's shouting, really, its name, and my name is love. And your name is love. Anyone who's hearing this show, anybody who could possibly hear this show, your name is love. And at the root of what you are, your name is love. Now, you might think you're an American or a Spaniard or a Portuguese or a Romanian or a Lithuanian or a South Cuban, or, you know, I could go through the countries, although geography is not my strong suit, so I'd probably run out sooner or later. But, I mean, you could think all those things. You could think you're a Catholic or a Jew or a Muslim, all the religions. But whatever you think you are love. And once we start as a species to experience that on a consistent basis, this planet will be the heaven on earth it's supposed to be, will be the Garden of Eden it's supposed to be. And we all know that really in our hearts that's what we want. We want to know that truth. We want to know that love. We want to know that we are love. That somehow whatever else we define ourselves as is smaller than we are. Whatever we think we are, we're more. And why are we more? Because we're made of love. And that love that we're made of is not the love that we feel for a child, is not the love we feel for a parent. It's that unconditional love that when you experience it, you say, I've experienced God. I've experienced truth. And all the religions throughout history have always had at their root the experience of that love, of that oneness. And the time is now for us to bring in that prayer, to bring in that intention, and in whatever ways we're capable to just explode it out. That each of us in our own particular way, in our own unique fashion, as all the flowers of the garden, this incredible paradise, are going to shout out the name love, that we are the name love, and you are the name love too. And tonight's guests really exemplify that. I mean, through their actions, their manifestations, their vibrations, their experiences, they shout out, my name is love, and so is yours. Your name is love. I mean, we have two extraordinary guests who've come in again from long distances to be with us. Devra Jacobs and Cindy Schuster are just extraordinary beings who, in their own way, through their own life experiences, have come to know that truth and have dedicated their lives to sharing it. And Devra was born with intuitive and psychic gifts and abilities at a very early age. She studied with many different teachers and under different modalities. She's dedicated her life from an early age to know that intuition. And then at some point in her movement through this physical life. She got a message that your destiny, in a sense, is to spread that love, that oneness, that vibration through the media, through a magazine. And she started literally with no money and no experience in that, and it's become this incredible mystic pop miracle. Her magazine, Mystic Pop, is just, now it's literally in every store. It's available everywhere, and the intention of every issue and the articles in every issue at the root is love. And that's what she does. And Cindy Schuster has had another incredible story. I mean, she's a spiritual teacher, she's an intuitive, she's a healer, she's an artist. She's, as we've talked about on recent shows, we're doing this international Bridging Heaven Earth art project. She has an extraordinary piece up that's, you know, at a gallery now, or we'd show it on this show, but it's up in a gallery. I mean, she's in the process of finishing a book, and she has a CD out about belly wisdom, about intuition, about coming into that recognition, that realization of consciousness, of love. What we call consciousness, when you have it, when you experience it in a human body, it feels like unconditional love. It feels like joy. And we have two beautiful videos by Mary Robinson and Craig Reynolds that they've done, that they send special for us. We have two beautiful paintings from the art project from Therese Marie and Erin Hogan. I mean, it's just an opportunity, again, to just share people's commitment and people's intention and people's manifestation of that recognition. So as we normally do at this time, please join me in a short meditation. We'll be ready for the show, and then we'll have the first video. Thank you. So the first video tonight is going to be You Are Love. There you have it. How synchronistic. By Mary Robinson and Craig Reynolds. It's a beautiful video. Settle in. And when we come back, we'll be with Cindy and Devra. So please enjoy. Hi, welcome back, everyone. That was a beautiful video. Thank you, Mary and Craig. And actually, we're going to show another one later on. So we're on the set with Devra and Cindy. Welcome. And I just wanted to, show you this piece. This was Erin Hogan's piece for the Bridging Heaven and Earth art project. It's called Tree of Life. It's magnificent. So there's just been so many beautiful manifestations of that love. So why don't you talk a little bit about, like, at the open, I talked about the message you got about, getting that love out and the best way for you to do it, Devra?
Well, it was really simple. I was given the inspiration by a channel that I was towing a magazine and that I was...
And you had never done anything?
No, I was a barber. At the time, I had no experience with computers or contacts with authors. I had read a lot, I had studied a lot, I trained a lot under different shaman and intuitives, and but that wasn't my background. And at the time when it happened, I kind of laughed and went, yeah, sure. Okay, I'm supposed to spread truth out to millions of people through a magazine. And I kind of laughed it off, but you know how when Spirit decides, this is what you're supposed to do, so,
might as well just
for the next few years,
right.
I kept getting these little inching along and inching along. And if you don't listen to Spirit, I mean, you get the kick in the butt. And it finally came down to a point that my arm had locked up in the joint and I could no longer cut hair. And I went, what am I going to do next? Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't I supposed to do a magazine?
Wow.
And it just manifested. And I went home. I'd quit my job. I went home, told my daughter, guess what? We're going to start a Now Age metaphysical magazine that's going to cover all paths of spiritual light, all works from UFOs to Hindu to paganism to everything. And she went, okay. As she usually does, okay. Because she knows that, as long as I'm coming from a place of spirit, it will manifest. And she didn't have nearly the amount of fear I had surrounding things like eating and supporting the household. But I knew I was guided to do this, and when I checked in with the angels, and it was just what was supposed to happen. And it did, and it was a series of miracles. As Wayne Dyer puts it in Power of Attention, you set your intent, and you ask for the right people and the right things to come forward to bring you what you need to know. So somebody gave me a computer, or somebody else gave me the right graphics program, and I just started asking the angels for me to be able to absorb and learn everything, and within 3 weeks I came out with the first issue.
Yeah, it was amazing, because I remember at that time it was just like really, it was
It was pretty.
On that level of things, it was a miracle.
I emailed people like Neil Donald Walsh and Alan Cohen and Wayne Dyer. I found emails, contacts for them, and I said, this is what I'm doing. I believe that we should have this all-encompassing, totally eclectic Now Age magazine. Do you want to play with me? And within a week, I had articles coming from all of these people. Yes, we've looked for something like this all our, professional lives, and we're so glad to support it. And yeah, it's been an incredible journey. And it's
really, in terms of Earth time, it's only been a couple of years, 2-3 years.
3.5 years. Yeah,
wow.
Really fast. But when you connect to intent and you're using
you're
that
in
force, it's just a dun 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 dun.
Yeah, the wind is in your sails.
Absolutely. When it got picked up by Barnes and Noble and Borders bookstores nationally, everybody was like, wow, you did this in just 3 years. And to me, it was like, okay, next. It wasn't, there's no limitations, there's no, and that's the key. That's the key for anybody who has set an intent. As long as you practice limitlessness, then the miracles happen. And Mystic Pop, I used to tell people I was the keeper of the crystal, because it has its own life, it has its own energy, and it, as you've seen, manifests and grows and changes and gets bigger, bolder, and better. And
yeah, we talk about everything's perfect and getting better.
Yeah,
so that way you can be content and still be active and still making it bigger and better and more and just more love and more energy out there.
And if you stay in the absolute now with it, every issue is perfect. Every issue gets better. Every issue, there's new authors. I tell people, what is it I say? I publish the famous and the infamous.
No, you're in the same position we are, because we get books from people I know no one's ever heard of, and CDs and tapes that are unbelievable.
Oh, there's
They're unbelievable.
wonderful people out there. And now that the magazine's sold outside the country, it's sold now in New Zealand and Puerto Rico and Japan.
Wow.
I'm getting articles from authors all over the world, and it's just its own being, its own creature, and I'm just sort of there to put it together and ship it, I think.
Right. Yeah, you're a vehicle for and it's fun to do when it's
It's
that harmony.
Totally
and
a place of joy. Every moment, even the struggles, are a place of joy. I've never had so much fun in my life, working so hard and not being tired.
Yeah, we call it work play.
Yeah.
Because it looks, to others, it looks like you're working really hard, but it's like, you're in this big sandbox and putting out this, international magazine or TV show or, CD or book, and it's just like, you just feel like
it's exciting.
A big, yeah, exactly.
I get up in the morning and my daughter laughs at me because the majority of people kind of get up and stroll through their morning. I literally wake up, walk in, turn on the coffee pot, go to my computer, because I'm so excited to see what's coming in on email. Who's writing me now? What happened next?
Yeah, I know
and
what you mean.
it's like, it's a rush. It's a total rush all the time. And the feedback that I'm getting from people who are discovering. I got a call last week from a guy who's in the professional world of marketing and advertising. He was blown away that I intentionally had 70% stories to 30% advertising. He goes, "What? Go pick up a magazine, Devra. You're losing money." I said, "It's not about the money. Money comes from God, not from people. It's about picking up a magazine that there's something to read."
Yeah, that's
Something,
yeah.
There's stuff to read and experience, and
vibrationally, it's just much stronger.
that's the purpose.
Exactly.
The angels didn't come along and say you're going to own a magazine so you make
Sell
a fortune.
a lot of advertising.
that wasn't the message.
Honey.
It was bring truth to the planet.
Sell a lot of advertising.
Yeah, the truth is not
plastics.
Although the ads are kind of cool too, but it's
eating
about
is a value.
the work.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it with that intention, everything, the abundance comes. It's just part of the play.
It's enabled me to bring so many more things into it, getting the advertising base now.
No, absolutely.
The readers
And
seem
they're not
very loyal
contradictory.
to the people that advertise.
Yeah,
They know that it's about the work. But like people like Cindy, I have columnists that are just incredible, like Cindy, and it's a joy. And I went from 46 pages to 96 pages in one issue. And people thought I was,
That's
people
a double,
they were like,
girl.
"You're crazy." I said, "No, I got so much more room for stuff now."
Right.
And it was thrilling, and I could really tell the difference with people who were buying it in the stores.
Your joy, from the first time I heard about it, that's what I really felt, and I knew that joy would, first of all, it's needed out there, that intention and that joy, and then that,
When I first met you 2 years ago, it was...
Yeah, it was struggling in the East Coast.
It was just a little regional, and then boom.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's fantastic.
It's the power of spirit.
And Cindy, when did you come into that explosion of, wanting to be out there, wanting to, be a teacher, wanting to let people know the beauty of, belly wisdom, intuition? When did that happen for you?
It's really been a lifelong process, but I would say the thing that truly catapulted me, there were two things. One was growing up in my family and watching my father. And my father had an 8th grade education, and he became a very successful entrepreneur. And he had a saying, and it was, "Trust your gut." And I worked very closely with him as a kid.
Wow.
So I always would notice there was, there were unspoken things, but he would kind of get a hunch follow through with it, and then all these synchronicities would happen that would support it.
Wow.
So that was kind of in my background. I was very intuitive, very empathic. I saw the other side as a child, but I didn't grow up in the environment that supported that. So on one level, there was a real fight on the inside because I wasn't listening to my belly, because I didn't know what that really meant. But yet, here's my dad in the linear world showing you how to use it in mainstream life. And I guess the biggest pivotal thing that happened to me of recent times is having surgery. And, I go into the emergency room and I'm told that you have to have your appendix out and you have to have it done today or you can die. And it was like, so here's this person who, lives a healthy life and does the supposed right things. And I'm faced with having to have this surgery right now.
And death is like right on your shoulder.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
it's like, what do I do?
Right.
So the first thing I did, and at this point I already was a spiritual teacher, first thing I did was go into the techniques that I teach. And one of them is the breath. If you think about it, when we're birthed into the earth, what's the first thing that happens? First thing that happens is...
We sell advertising. No.
Yeah, we sell advertising. The first
Only in my world.
Right. Oh, her grandchild came out. We can give you a very good deal.
Yes, yes.
That's right.
3 pages for the... Okay.
So the first thing that happens is you're taken from that warm, watery sack of that ocean water where all of your needs are supplied to you. And you're pushed down through this little canal, and you're kind of contorted and, twisted. And then you come out into earth. And the first thing they do is they slap you on the butt. And what happens? The breath of life comes into the body. Mm-hmm. Very symbolic. So what is it? It's about learning to breathe, number one, and go back to the breath. So when I was in that emergency room, the first thing came to me, and that's one of the biggest things I teach, is go back to the breath. Because when you breathe into the body, you're inviting spirit to move through you. So as I would breathe into my body, I'd go into my belly and I ask, what do I need to feel safe right now? Because I'm scared. So what I heard from my gut was, you need to tell people that you're scared, and you need to tell them you need to connect. Because to me, having surgery was more intimate than making love with someone. They're going to cut my body open and take a precious organ out, and they're just going to say, hello, my name is Dr. So-and-so. I'll see you in surgery. That wasn't working for me.
So that's when you started wearing outfits like this.
Exactly. My belly didn't want to be covered anymore.
Right.
Okay, my belly was saying, hey, I'm
I
here.
want people to notice.
No, it wasn't about
No,
them
I know,
noticing.
I understand.
It was my own thing
Right.
of really taking pride and owning my center
Right.
and my power.
Right.
So with each person...
And so when you talk about like a belly wisdom, and in essence, it's like a new way to phrase trust your gut. So,
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Trust your intuition.
Right.
To come into the knowledge of that and go.
Yeah, because the long and the short of it was, through the series of the surgery and that experience, through the breathing I used no pre or post pain medication, okay? And I was healed in like a miraculous amount of time.
Wow. And
And each person that came to me, each doctor, each nurse, first thing I would say is, I'm really frightened and I have something to ask of you. And they'd look at me and they'd say, what? And I said, well, would you hold my hand? Some looked at me like I was crazy.
Yeah,
Like, what is this
I'm
lady?
here
Hello?
to take your temperature, girl. What is this hold?
And some immediately reached out, and one downright turned me down. And the one that turned me down was the anesthesiologist.
Wow.
Last person before I'd go into the OR. When he said no, I immediately went back inside. He's still talking to me, but I'm having a conversation in my belly, okay, through my feeling being. And my belly said, you need to come back again and let him know how important this is to you. Not from your willpower, but from your heart, from that place of love, because you need to love yourself to speak what you need. So I took a breath, and I looked at him and I said, I don't think you understand. This is really important to me. For one moment, would you just please connect with me and hold my hand? And he said, well, okay. He holds my hand, and he let go rather quickly, and he says, so now tell me, what did you get from that? And I said, what I got from that is, you have a heart that is tremendously huge, and I am so blessed and grateful that you are the person working on me, and you passionately love your job. He said, well, you're exactly right, I do. And what it did was, it not only, by me having the courage to speak what I needed, it not only affected me and opened my heart, but it allowed others' hearts to open too. And that's really what belly wisdom is about. Trusting your gut, having the courage to go through with it, and getting clear on where's my intention coming from. Is it coming from my head that's trying to get something, or is it coming from the clarity of my heart, the truth of my heart? And am I speaking from that place? And so this whole process is about getting clear with that and understanding the techniques of really what does my energy feel, or how does it sense in my particular being? Because we have the choice to flip switch at any time. You know, we can be a victim or a victor, and I choose to be a victor. And by choosing that role, everything comes to me. You know, I didn't call you and say, can I be on your show? I didn't call Devra.
How did you get here?
God.
My God, there's been a miracle.
Exactly.
What's your name? Oh my God.
When she talks about with using the belly wisdom, and I've learned a lot and worked a lot with Cindy, especially early on 2 years ago, when I would call and say, you know, God, you know, I keep seeing my intent, and my intent is high gloss, full color pages, and I just don't know where the money's going to come from for that. And she'd say, what does your gut say? Yeah, my gut says it should be full color, high gloss. She said, then just do that. And trust and know from a gut level, absolute faith and knowing that it's all going to be good and it's all going to be right. And that's exactly the way it comes out. It just, the miracles happen. If you stay out of your head and come from a place of spirit and really trust, you know, those little feelings.
Yeah, maybe what we'll do is we'll come another video, and then we'll come back and talk about how we can really learn to trust that at the beginning, that small voice, but it grows. So we're going to show the second video. It's a beautiful video again by Mary Robinson and Craig Reynolds. It's called Thanksgiving. It's a beautiful video, and then we'll be back with Cindy and Devra. Hi everybody, welcome back. So that was a beautiful video again. So thank you, Mary and Craig. And the piece you're seeing now that was part of the Bridging Heaven and Earth International Art Project was by Teresa Marie, a good friend of the show, lives around the Santa Barbara area, and she, actually she's at this show and we're just so delighted. It's called The Dancer of Light. So I mean, you get a feel for just the real connection there. And so why don't you guys tell me how you met and how you guys are working together now? You do an article every month for the issue, right? And
Right.
it's going to start to be every day the way this movie's going.
Bi-monthly, every other month.
Every other month. That's how it is now.
Yeah,
But,
maybe monthly again in the future,
Right.
but it's every other month.
it's funny because we started doing the show. We did it every week, a live show every week.
Wow.
And it was after probably about 6 or 7 weeks, a show about love and joy. It was like getting to be a grind. It's horrible. So then we decided to do every 2 weeks and then take a couple of months off in the middle. So
Yeah,
you got to find your right balance.
I was monthly, and I realized that if I switched to every other month, it gave me the opportunity to grow a lot faster and have a thicker magazine that contained more, that was actually out on the shelves longer for people to be able to find it and buy it, or
Yeah, you find your right balance.
Yeah,
And how did
it's-
you guys come to meet each other and
How did we
realize?
I saw one of Cindy's ads in another magazine, and being the good salesperson that I am, called her, and I was on the East Coast at the time, and called her and said, "Have you ever heard of Mystic Pop?" And actually, I don't even think it was called Mystic Pop yet at that time.
I don't even remember.
That's right, it wasn't quite yet. Well, I won't mention the name it was called because nobody will ever be able to pronounce it or remember it, which is why I changed it. But I sent her a copy, and then remember you called me and you were like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, of
exactly.
course.
Yeah, and I said, well, I realize it's only regional right now.
It's going places.
Yeah, she basically gave me the reading, and at that time, my intent was kind of like issue per issue. Okay, I paid to have it printed this time. Maybe we can make a few more next time. And it was still newspaper print at that time. And Cindy and a couple other people, Glennis McCants, the numerologist, and Alan Cohen, all said, "Oh no, we see this magazine being international. We want to be part of this. We want to get in on this." And I started reading some of Cindy's work and said, "I want a Tantra sex column for the magazine." And
Well,
she said,
personally, if
she
no
said,
other reason.
"I can do that." Because, the one thing about the magazine, and you've read it, there is something for everybody.
Right. No, it's wonderful.
And,
It really is
and I
wonderful.
figured, well, I may get some emails. Some people may not like it or whatever. And that totally hasn't been the case. People love her column, and she's in every issue. Has been for 2 years, 2.5.
2 years.
Yeah, in fact, she has the longest running column that I've had.
Wow.
Some of them weren't, necessarily taken,
Trust your belly wisdom.
Yep, absolutely.
in there for the longevity.
That's right, absolutely. And so now there's columns like Glennis McCants writes for every issue, Doreen Virtue writes for every issue, and everybody writes exclusive articles. You're not going to pick it up and it's going to be in 5 other magazines, the same article. In fact, I won't even take them that way, which I love it because people like Cindy know that they can write something different from me.
Right.
Juicy.
Juicy. We like juicy. It's fun. It really does have some juicy kind of things.
Yeah.
It's got like the Mystic Giggles page with cartoons, which you'll absolutely love. The latest cartoon. It says celebrate everything, and it's got like this reindeer with all the different everything from Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and everything. And then that kind of expressed the eclecticness of the magazine. So
That's what I always liked about it, that there was no one particular, just it glorified all the different spokes, but really it glorified the center, the love, the oneness, the heart. That's what I always liked about it.
I think it's full of golden nuggets, and anybody who picks it up, they may go, "Oh no, that's garbage," or no, I don't believe in that," or "I don't know about crop circles," but they'll find something that will get to them. And if they're on a path, it might show them that there's lots of paths, and there isn't one right, one wrong, that all paths lead to the same place. So,
And that's a really great point. And what I really like about the opportunity to write this column called Let's Talk Tantra is that it's the getting out to people that Tantra isn't just about sex. Tantra means
But energy.
Yes.
yeah, darn, it wasn't quite that juicy.
But it is. It's
Once
really.
I found that out, I started reading the thing as carefully as I did before. I must say that, but all things being equal. But no. No, it's
We're picking
beautiful.
on you, sorry.
No, we're actually not.
No, but it's really connecting to the juice of the spirit and understanding
Right, it
that.
all comes from there anyhow.
Yeah,
right?
it's again the oneness and the love. It's just everybody has a different way to get to it, and Tantra is just a technique of how do I get there? Is it through the meditation? Is it through the breath work? Is it through the sexual activity? But the bottom line is to get you back into your heart.
Right, to have that experience.
That's it.
However you have once you have the experience, the paths are all almost irrelevant in some way.
I
Yeah.
love the questions people write to you.
Oh, it's
Most
fascinating.
of the columns in the magazine at the bottom have addresses where you can write to the authors and ask questions. And it's like the Dear Abby of the spiritual universe. There's something in it for everybody. But
Yeah,
I'm really
we try
surprised.
to do that, how, to make it accessible. That's how we get calls and emails from all over, because people are touched, and and I'm sure that in the magazine, all the different people who write the articles, and you get just enormous numbers of.
Oh, the response and some of the questions. I love some of the questions in your column. It's amazing
Yeah.
how people open up.
And also, by them opening, I think there was someone that sent you a letter to the editor that they were in a 17-year relationship or something, and at first when they saw the Tantra column, they were kind of remiss about it, like, what is this? And then through something that they read in there, it actually helped their relationship, and it made a switch in their life. So, what Devra's offering in that magazine is also different ways to, again, come back to that oneness. It's not only a nice, pretty magazine, but there are tools in there.
Such a pretty magazine, you sometimes forget everything.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote me an email the other day and said, I was going through your magazine and I was reading along and I didn't realize what I was reading was an ad. It's all so pretty, it all just sort of flows and blends together. I thought that was great. That's a great compliment.
Yeah.
But there's something, Sonia Choquette writes a column every issue, and it's anything that, I'm totally open to anything. I do ask Spirit, and I ask the angels when I receive articles, and this is something I really want people to know about too, because I want people to understand they can trust what they read. I ask Spirit, I ask the angels when I get articles, even if the person is really famous, if I don't absolutely get 100% that they walk their talk or it's truth, I won't print it. I would just as soon, hurt somebody's feelings if they take it that way, or whatever. But what's in the magazine is what resonates with me. And
Well, you're the gatekeeper in that way.
And
And also the magazine ends up deciding for itself anyway. That's how we talk about the show. Whoever's supposed to be on the show finds a way to be on it. And anybody who's not will literally, their car will break down on the way up from LA. And it's happened a couple of times.
I've had that experience too, where somebody's publicist just said, I've got this wonderful article, I'm going to send you this article, and I'm waiting and waiting, I'm on deadline, and finally I end up sticking somebody that's totally unknown in,
Yeah, right.
and just get this huge, amazing response from the readers. Where is this person, and how do I get in touch with this person? Things are always, what is it that we're always saying? Everything's always in absolute divine right order.
It's all perfect.
It's all perfect.
Our heads just don't always get it.
Yeah. As long as you practice an ethical intent, then it's always going to be right. Even the ubus are going to be right.
Yeah, the integrity is vital.
Yeah, the heart of it, the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I mean, you know, we first talked, when I first saw the magazine or I saw your stuff, I mean, that was, you know, the feeling is like, that's the root. And, you know, once you have a root like that, with that purity of intent, purity of spirit, you know, we're human, we're going to, you know, do things. You know,
Well,
so
yeah.
Father, forgive us, we don't know what we do, but, you know, generally it's going to come from that,
Yeah.
that heart, and it's going to be beautiful.
Well, if you can't come from that space, then don't do it. I had several different printers have been contacting me saying, I can print your magazine, you know, for less money, and it'll be lighter weight.
and-
Yeah, they want to make the paper lighter. They think I'm crazy to pay the money to have the heavy. I mean, it's like, well, you know, it's like a book. It's not
Right,
like a
right.
magazine. Or, you know, I don't know why you're doing this. Why don't you go to, you know, a smaller size? Or it's like, if it's not going to be exactly what my intention is,
Right.
then I need to get out of the business. So the money will come, the advertisers will come, the people buying it will come, as long as I remain in the
Yeah, if you're
the
doing
right
it joyously
place.
and lovingly, that's, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first started the show, I mean, you know, when we did it live in Santa Barbara, you know, who watched it? But, you know, we would have a blast doing it. You know?
it's about the joy.
And it's joyous, and people could feel that. And I think that's the reason, you know, like your magazine, it just starts, that
It
people
has its
want
own
it.
life.
Right, the
It
people
has-
want it. They want to experience that joy. You know, and that's, you know, like when you see your stuff, I mean, that's what to me is, you know, the thing that's really vital about it, is that the joy is there.
I think you get turned on to a lot of other aspects of people too. People who read the Tantra column, you know, and then they go to Cindy's site and they find out, oh, she does seminars. Oh, she designs jewelry, you know. Oh, and it's kind of like that ooh-ah expansion from what started off as just this little one-page
Yeah,
thing they read.
it's just a little peephole, and you
Yeah.
open up to the. And that's, yeah.
I was telling somebody the other day, they said, well, what exactly is Mystic Pop? And this person was like, totally five sensory, straight-laced. And I said, it's the Reader's Digest of spiritualism. And that's what it is. It's the Now Age in a nutshell. Oh, I like that. Let's keep that one. The Now Age in a nutshell.
So, you know, you talked a little bit about the feel, like you said, when you saw my stuff or Devra's stuff, and you had a feel about it. That's vital right there. You know, people want to know, how do I know what's right for me? That's a key. It's a sensation. When spirit talks in the body, and we can call spirit God, Goddess, Buddha, Allah, whatever your name is for the divine, when that Holy Spirit moves through the body, and there's a feeling of relaxation and peace, that's your truth. That's how you know, that's my answer. If there's restriction, there's fear, there's doubt, there's worry, that's your head.
And if there's definition, you know, there's ideas, there's concept, it's
Yes.
too much weight on the moment to experience that.
Right.
So how do we get to that? You know, and that's what all the spiritual paths are about. So when you talk about belly wisdom or trusting your gut or however you would do that, what tools do you allow people to share and that have worked for you to come into contact with that and trust it?
Number one is the breath, okay? You got to bring the spirit into the body. You got to receive. You have to receive the energy. So you receive the energy, and then I call it living a tantric life. Tantra is about being present to what is without judgment. So you receive the energy. I'm scared to death now. I'm in an emotional trauma. I'm joyous. Without judgment, go into it. Let yourself breathe into whatever that emotion is. We've been taught to stuff. We've been taught that tears are bad, that anger is bad, and joy is good. Well, if you look at Mother Nature, there's the biggest symbol for us about what God gave us. There's daylight and there's darkness, okay? There's duality. There's male and there's female. And the importance is understanding, finding the balance of that within the self. So if you recognize you have anger, you go into it, and then responsibly, you don't go and attack someone with it. You beat a pillow. You use different tools and techniques, which I teach in my classes, to release the energy from your beingness so you can get pure and clear as to what's really going on here. Because the bottom line, when these things come up, it's really about how can I get rid of my stuff so I can be more in my heart. It's all about love. Everything is about love. And this isn't some new age hype thing. Our spirit is constantly trying to get us in a physical body to love more. Just like coming to the show today. I'm driving down the road and there's a guy on a bicycle in Santa Barbara. And I heard, open the window and hand him a rose. He almost fell off his bike. But the joy on his face that someone recognized him. My spirit said to do that. I wasn't looking for anything. We have no idea when we listen to those little things in our heart how big of an impact it can have on someone. And I get many people come back to me reporting things, maybe little things that I've done I didn't even realize how it impacted them. So what I say is pass it on. Love is a big thing.
Yeah, if you vibrate it, it's going to...
Own it and pass it on.
Right.
So again, the tools are get in the body, breathe, accept what's there, and then be responsible with the emotions. And then learn how to trust those instincts. And once you start to get those instincts, guess what? You have to do something with it for it to earthly manifest. Because
But you will. I mean, if there's, you're in a physical body and you do physical things. So if you're in harmony with that, it's going to manifest. And as it turns out, this show has manifested for, almost to the end. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's been great.
I just want to
It's
thank
been
you
wonderful.
for coming. So
Thank you.
if you want
Thank
any
you.
information on Devra or Cindy, the magazine, Mystic Pot Miracle, Belly Wisdom,
Mystic Pop Magazine.
Mystic Pot Magazine. Alan, 805-687-2053, 805-687-2053. We love you. Good night. God bless you.